Welcome to Mysteries and Crime, where we delve into the most chilling mysteries and unresolved cases. If you're as fascinated by the unknown as we are, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue uncovering these captivating stories. Today, we journey back to February 1957 to the quiet woods of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a place where children's laughter once echoed and life was serene, until the discovery of a small box shattered the peace and left a haunting mystery that persists to this day. This is the story of the boy in the box, an unsolved case that has perplexed investigators and haunted the hearts of many for decades. Picture this: it's a cold February day. The trees are bare, their skeletal branches swaying in the frigid wind. A young man walking through the woods stumbles upon a discarded box lying in the underbrush. At first glance, it seems like trash, a large cardboard box that once held a bassinet. But what he finds inside is beyond comprehension. The box contains the body of a young boy, naked, bruised, and lifeless. His hair has been crudely cut, tufts scattered around him. His eyes are closed, his face pale and peaceful, but the bruises and scars on his body tell a different story, a story of unimaginable pain. The authorities are called, and soon this once quiet stretch of woodland becomes the epicenter of an investigation that will baffle police, stir public outrage, and give birth to one of America's most infamous cold cases. The boy was estimated to be between 3 and 7 years old. He had light brown hair, blue eyes, and weighed only 30 pounds, severely underweight for a child his age. Despite the advanced state of decomposition, forensic experts determined he had suffered from malnutrition and endured physical abuse. His body bore several scars, some of which seemed surgical, hinting at medical treatment or attempts to conceal injuries. But who was he, and why had he been abandoned in such a cruel and undignified manner? The police worked tirelessly to identify him. Flyers were printed with the boy's image and distributed across Pennsylvania and beyond. The media dubbed him the boy in the box, and his heartbreaking story captivated the nation. Tips poured in, and theories abounded. Yet each lead seemed to hit a dead end. One of the most intriguing theories revolved around the box itself. The cardboard box had once held a bassinet sold by a nearby J.C. Penney store. Investigators traced the serial number, hoping it would lead them to someone who might know the boy. But the trail grew cold. The box had been purchased by someone unknown, and no records remained to connect it to a specific buyer. Another clue came in the form of a blanket. Found wrapped around the boy, the blanket was old and frayed, with a distinctive pattern. Yet, even this clue failed to provide answers. Despite exhaustive efforts to trace its origins, the blanket story remained as elusive as the boy's identity. The investigators' frustration was palpable. Local law enforcement reached out to national agencies, hoping that their combined expertise could crack the case. Psychics were consulted, offering visions of the boy's past. Even facial reconstruction techniques were employed to create a lifelike image of the boy, in the hopes that someone would recognize him. But as each promising lead turned into a dead end, the weight of the mystery deepened. Years passed, and the case grew colder, but the world refused to forget. Citizens took up the mantle of justice, forming organizations dedicated to uncovering the boy's identity. Amateur sleuths pored over the evidence, while law enforcement continued to revisit the case whenever new technology or leads emerged. In the 1990s, DNA testing brought a glimmer of hope. A sample was extracted from the boy's remains and entered into national databases, searching for a familial match. It was a long shot, but investigators believed it could finally break the case. Yet again, the results were inconclusive. As the years turned into decades, stories began to circulate. Some claimed the boy might have been the child of an abusive foster family. Others speculated he was a victim of human trafficking or an illegal adoption gone wrong. One witness even alleged the boy had been sold and later abandoned. But these theories remained just that, theories. The truth remained agonizingly out of reach. The tragedy of the boy in the box wasn't just the mystery of his death, but the eerie silence that surrounded his life. How could no one miss a little boy? How could his absence go unnoticed? It was as if he had been erased from existence. Some investigators believe the boy's family might have deliberately concealed his identity, perhaps out of fear or guilt. Others theorized he was never part of a traditional family at all, but rather a child who slipped through the cracks of an indifferent system. The mystery gained renewed attention in the early 2000s, thanks to the rise of internet forums dedicated to solving cold cases. Online communities dissected the evidence, offering fresh perspectives and unearthing overlooked details. Some members of these communities dedicated years of their lives to the case, scouring public records and interviewing potential witnesses. Though they couldn't solve the mystery, their dedication kept the boy's story alive. In 2019, after over 60 years, a major development reignited hope. The boy's remains were exhumed for advanced DNA testing using modern genealogical techniques. This new process had been instrumental in solving other cold cases, such as the Golden State Killer. Could it finally uncover the boy's identity? In December 2022, after 65 years, the unthinkable happened. The boy was identified as Joseph Augustus Zarelli, born in 1953. This breakthrough came through advanced genetic genealogy, linking him to living relatives. But while Joseph's name was restored, the circumstances of his tragic death remain cloaked in mystery. His parents, whose identities have not been disclosed to the public, are no longer alive. Investigators have kept their focus on protecting the privacy of living relatives while still urging anyone with information to come forward. The identification of Joseph Augustus Zarelli was a moment of bittersweet closure. It answered the question of his name, but left countless others unanswered. Who harmed him? Why was he left in such a desolate place? And what secrets, if any, still linger among those who may know the truth? The police have stated that this case remains active. New leads are pursued, and investigators hope that someone, perhaps an aging relative or witness, might come forward with the missing piece of the puzzle. Time has a way of surfacing buried secrets, and they remain determined to uncover the full story. The boy in the box's story has not only captivated true crime enthusiasts, but has also served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of neglect. His case symbolizes the children who suffer in silence, their stories untold, their cries unheard. Advocacy groups have used Joseph's story as a rallying cry for better systems to protect vulnerable children. The haunting questions surrounding his life and death have sparked changes in child welfare laws and brought attention to the importance of reporting signs of abuse and neglect. Perhaps his legacy lies not just in the search for justice, but in the lives that might be saved because his story refuses to fade. As we reflect on this case, we're reminded of the importance of advocacy, awareness, and compassion. No child should ever be forgotten, and no life should end without justice. If you were moved by this story, please share it to help keep Joseph's memory alive. And if you have any information, no matter how small, contact the authorities. Sometimes it's the smallest clue that leads to the biggest breakthroughs. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of America's most haunting mysteries. Don't forget to subscribe to Mysteries and Crime for more stories like this one. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.